Thank you for joining AppleTree Audience, where we talk to diverse people who contribute to the early learning and education space. I am Natasha Padilla, the Director of Communications and Early Learning Initiatives at AppleTree. In this segment, we will be talking with Atyani Howard, Chief Program Officer at the New Teacher Center. Let's get started. Hi, Atyani. Thank you for speaking with us today. I'm really interested in knowing, what is your why?
My why for doing this work is really that I believe that an education is a human right. To know the power of one's own mind. Everyone should have that opportunity, no matter where you come from, what your background is. It's what makes us human. And so for me, school can really be a place that either elevates our humanity through the experiences, the exposure, the community, the interactions, or dehumanizes us. And so I always go back to education as a human endeavor, a human right. And if we can stay in that kind of alignment, we can really create a just world and the beloved community that Dr. King speaks about. So that's my why for the work. There's a lot of strategy and technique and curriculum and professional learning that has to combine to really do what I'm describing. But we have to begin with really the most powerful thing, which is our humanity and how we use our gifts to really elevate that for all.
So, what can be done to educate all children equitably?
That's a great question, Natasha. I think what needs to be done to educate all children equitably is beginning with knowing who they are. So, one of the things I always say is know the student's story in order to support them well. If you don't know who students are in their full humanity and you don't get them to trust you enough to really show who they are, particularly again, students who come from marginalized backgrounds where institutions do not always represent a positive force in their lives, we have to begin really working on how we use education and school as a space where it's safe to bring your full self, to show your full self, and that the school is responsible for aligning the major efforts to who students are.
How do you think policy affects early childhood education?
We say as a country that we know the importance of students learning from the earliest years, and yet we do not value that in how we shape policy and funding, and that affects marginalized students disproportionately. So that's sort of like the drumbeat at NTC is, the majority of our work is in the K-12 space, but we understand that it's the continuum and beginning early that really has the power to be a transformational force, particularly for marginalized groups of students. And so how are we really walking our talk in that way?
Thank you, Atyani, for sharing your insight. And thank you for joining AppleTree Audience today. We'll see you next time.